Hi folks, thanks for watching. This video will show that Obama is in no way the Antichrist, but it will also show that Antichrist is not like many expect him to be. Today's teachers of eschatology, meaning end-time doctrines, are getting worse and further away from the truth, especially here on the internet where we seem to have every false Bible teacher and sensationalist known to man, it seems. I'm just going to lay out 10 of my own reasons why Obama is not the Antichrist, reasons I have come up with from my own studies. These are not plagiarized from others. There are many more reasons than these, but with Scripture, if you fail on one point, you fail on all points. And I don't think Obama fulfills any of these points, so no need to keep on harping on about it. If you still believe Obama is the Antichrist after watching all these 10 reasons why he isn't, then nothing will change your mind anyway. Also, I in no way support Obama. I think he's a bad president, but he's not the Antichrist. So let's get to it. Reason 1. Antichrist is the Jewish Messiah. You may be surprised to learn that Antichrist is indeed the Jewish Messiah. Jesus said so in John 5:43, where he said, I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. It is commonly accepted in this verse that Jesus is referring to Antichrist. I am not suggesting Antichrist is born and bred Jew, because he might not be, as Daniel 11:41 says. He shall enter also into the glorious land, thus suggesting he is not from there. But Antichrist will be accepted as the Jewish Messiah that they have been waiting for so long. Obama will never be accepted as a Messiah of the Jews, and thus Antichrist. He is disliked and untrusted by Israel more than any president in US history. He can't even speak their language of Hebrew, so Jewish Messiah, Obama is not. Reason 2. Antichrist lives in Jerusalem. So, keeping with the biblical theme that Antichrist is accepted as Messiah of the Jews, you would think that he also lives in Israel. Jerusalem is, in fact, where he sits, in the temple. And indeed he does live there, according to Daniel 11:45, where it says, And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas of the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. So Obama does not live in Jerusalem, and he never will live in Jerusalem. And he does not seem to even like Israel too much. Antichrist does not like Israel either, but at least he masks it and deceives Israel at first. Obama has shown his true colours to Israel already, as not a big supporter of them. Nevertheless, he does not live there as required. Reason 3. Antichrist rules from Jerusalem. 2 Thessalonians 2:4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, all that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. So here we see Antichrist sitting in the temple, exalting himself. He does, in fact, edict decrees, such as in Daniel 7:25, where it says, He shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and shall think to change times and the law. So he changes laws, exalts himself, persecutes the saints, all from his temple in Jerusalem. Obama works in the White House. He only has the power over the USA and nowhere else. I mean, I live in Australia, and I can't remember Obama having power to make laws here. So, especially, Obama has no power to rule and make laws from Jerusalem. Antichrist has global sweeping powers over laws of all lands and nations, and does so from Jerusalem. Obama does not and cannot. Reason 4. The Antichrist rides 10 kings. These kings are not giving power to the Antichrist today. In fact, they are not even in power today, as they are when the Antichrist is reigning. In Daniel 7:7-8, it says, It was different from all the beasts that were before it. It had 10 horns. I was considering the horns, and there was another horn, a little one, coming up among them, before whom 3 of the first horns were plucked out by the roots. And there, in this horn, were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking pompous words. And then in Revelation 17:12 it says, And the 10 horns which thou sawest are the 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So here we see Antichrist ruling under the power of the 10 kings, who in turn were given kingdoms from the Antichrist. These kings are leaders of nations. These 10 kings, do not exist under Obama. Antichrist's power comes from these 10 kings. Obama's power comes from the people of the USA, and the USA only. He rules the USA, and the USA only. Where are these 10 kings that give global power to the Antichrist? They simply do not exist at all. So Obama does not fulfill this prophecy either. Verse 5. There is no temple for the Antichrist to sit in. Antichrist sits in the Jewish temple, pouring out desolation. In 2 Thessalonians 2:4, it says, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Okay, so this is not the White House. This is a place where sacrifices of animals are made. It is the third Jewish temple that shall be built sometime in the future. How can Obama sit in this temple if this temple does not yet exist? It's true that the temple can be built and have it ready to go in as little as 6 months from a start date, but the fact is the political climate won't allow for it, nor will it allow for it anytime soon. So you have a much larger time frame than 6 months to deal with here, and Obama will most likely be out of office by that time. I find it highly unlikely that he will serve a third term. He is too unpopular for that, even amongst the members of his own party. So Obama has to sit in this temple in Jerusalem and claim to be God. This has not happened. Reason 6. Antichrist claims to be higher than God. Again, we look at 2 Thessalonians 2:4, which says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. When has Obama ever claimed to be God? I've actually seen him say the contrary. There are videos on YouTube where you hear a heckler yelling to Obama that Jesus Christ is God, and he is right. But Obama replies saying he agrees with the man, and then he confirms and mouths the words, quote, first of all, Jesus Christ is the Lord, I believe in that, unquote. Now, I do not believe for a second that Obama is a Christian. I think he is a Muslim and a liar. However, Antichrist speaks blasphemy against Christ. Obama has never done any such thing, only the opposite. Someone who claims to be God, as Antichrist does not go around confirming the deity of others, like Obama has done. Reason 7. The Antichrist has a fierce countenance. That is to say that he is impressive visually, a man who looks fearsome and strong. In Daniel 8:23 it says, and in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. I don't think many people would say Obama is a fierce-looking man. He is to me rather the opposite, with his big flappy ears and narrow chin and thin non-muscular build. I'm not mocking him, I'm just saying he does not appear to be the fierce-looking man the Bible says Antichrist is. And I don't think any amount of gym work, steroids or facial reconstruction is going to change that. So Obama fails to fulfill this prophecy also. And remember, if you fail on one point, you fail on all. Reason 8. Antichrist has no regard for women. Daniel 11:37 says, neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. So here it says he shall not have regard for the desire of women, because he simply wishes to magnify himself above all. Barack Obama is married, and he does a good job of allowing Michelle to do whatever she likes, even dictating school lunches. That's not a sign of a man who wants to magnify himself above all and over everything, especially in the public eye. More than this, I think the verse goes a little deeper, suggesting that Antichrist will not marry or carry out relationships with women. Reason 9. Antichrist is popular and a man of war. Revelation 13:3 says, "And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? And who is able to make war with him?" Okay, so we see here that the world wonders after the beast, saying, Who is able to make war with him? Democrats are and have been traditionally anti-war. Obama is no different, claiming that he ended the war in Iraq. The only war he was involved in initiating is the current one. This war with ISIS is so lame that one has to remind themselves that the USA and its allies are at a state of war with ISIS. There are no soldiers doing ground battles, there's no tanks, there are no actual fighting going on. All Obama is doing is dropping a bomb here and there on a couple of desert tents. Not too much different to what Bill Clinton did to Osama bin Laden in his camp pre 9/11. So, as for Obama being popular, for being a great success at being a warmonger, one very good at it, I just don't see it. I think Obama is the exact opposite. I think he is a failure in the theatre of war, and he has won no wars and only started a pretend war. Let's take a good look at this because it's rather important. In Daniel 11:39-43 it says, "Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange god, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and he shall divide the land for gain. And at that time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, and with horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall enter into the countries, and he shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps." These verses say Antichrist shall overcome many nations in war. But take careful note that the king of the south and the king of the north shall come at him like a whirlwind. Shall Stephen Harper, current leader of Canada, to the north of Obama, come at him like a whirlwind, military-wise? Will Stephen Harper join with Mexico in attacking the United States? No, that isn't what will happen. And in verse 43, it even says that the king of the south is Egypt. This means Antichrist is in Jerusalem, waging wars all around him. For the White House is not north of Egypt, nor is Canada north of Jerusalem. The Antichrist is a man of war. It's one of his main character descriptions. Obama is a flim-flam man that nobody is scared of. Not President Putin, not North Korea. Nobody is scared of Obama because they know the worst he will do in retaliation is a pretend war. So before we speak about the last reason, let's quickly recap on the 9 reasons Obama is not the Antichrist. Reason 1, Antichrist is the Jewish Messiah. Reason 2, Antichrist lives in Jerusalem. Reason 3, Antichrist rules from Jerusalem. Reason 4, the Antichrist rides 10 kings. Reason 5, there is no temple for the Antichrist to sit in. Reason 6, Antichrist claims to be higher than God. Reason 7, Antichrist has a fierce countenance. Reason 8, Antichrist has no regard for women. Reason 9, Antichrist is popular and a man of war. Obama is none of those things. And so the final reason is, reason 10, Antichrist is one of the kings that Babylon sits on. Revelation 17:3. "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-coloured beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns." Then progressing to verse 10 it says, "And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. He that continues a short space is antichrist. The chapter also says Babylon, or the woman, rides on these kings, one of whom is the antichrist. So, if Obama is the antichrist, where is the woman, Babylon? There is nobody riding on the coattails of Obama. He is a sinking ship, one to jump from. It is in fact the city of Babylon that rules the world with Antichrist as its leader in the last days. And that city is Jerusalem. Jerusalem does not rule the world at the moment. And so Obama will undoubtedly be out of power by the time Jerusalem does rule. So Obama can't be the Antichrist on this count either. But let me say I have a three-part video series on Mystery Babylon, which proves beyond doubt from the Bible only that Babylon is Jerusalem. You can click on the link on the screen or in the description box below to watch that series. I also have a short 6-minute video on why Babylon is not the USA, Rome, or any other besides Jerusalem. The link is also available on the screen and in the description box below. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Hope you've been blessed. Please like, subscribe, comment and share to your friends on Facebook if you enjoyed or learnt something. Thank you.